California Arts Council and Beverly Hills Arts Commission, is the former West Coast editor of Andy Warhol's Interview magazine and society editor of the Herald Examiner. Her cover stories can be read in Venice and Detour magazines, and she is a contributing editor to California Apparel News. For the next half hour, Joan will bring you inside news and views on society, art, film, and the exhilarating worlds of these multifaceted people. Here is Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to Joan Quinn, etc. We have a great show for you today. Our guests are Lela Rochon and actress Juliet Mills. Recently, Lela Rochon dropped into the studio in Beverly Hills, and we did this interview. I'm here with a beautiful actress named Lela Rochon. Lela has made a number of TV appearances and has had a lot of small parts in movies until her big role in Harlem Nights. From there, she catapulted into co-starring with Eddie Murphy in Boomerang. I have to ask you, first of all, how it was to work with Eddie Murphy.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if the show's long enough for that, but it was wonderful. It's just a wonderful person, a true professional, and an awful lot to be learned from him. And it's really interesting because the first time he was actually the director, and in this picture we were both actors together.
In Boomerang, you both acted together.
Right. In Harlem Nights, he was my director.
Did he find you?
I guess so. I found him, whichever.
Are you a native Californian?
Yes, I'm from here. I'm from Los Angeles.
Really? Did you go to school, everything here?
Cerritos High School.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I even went to college here at Cal State Dominguez Hills. So
oh, well, that was great. How'd you get to Hollywood? It wasn't very far, was it?
It wasn't a long walk. I started off as a dancer in college as a hobby, something I love to do.
What kind of dancing?
Basically street dancing, break dancing.
So you didn't take lessons then?
No.
You just followed?
Yeah, and I got a lead in a video with Lionel Richie, and from there I started doing commercials, and one thing led to another.
So did you always want to be an actress, or did you just want to be a dancer, or what were your wishes?
No, actually I wanted to be a journalist. I majored in journalism.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we can give you a call, and I've done that for so many years.
Yes, I had a big interest in that, and basically a lot of it was offered to me and sort of fell in my lap, and by the time I graduated, I figured my foot was already in the door in show business. I had just as much chance of becoming an actress as a newscaster, so I just kept pursuing that.
Oh, you wanted to go into broadcast journalism, into news.
Yes.
I see. Well, your face looks great on the screen, and you know where I think everyone will be looking at you and wondering, where have I seen her? Where have I seen her?
Yes.
The Spudette girl. What were you?
Yes. That was one of the reasons I didn't go into journalism. I was in college and I was graduated in June, and I got that job in May.
Tell us a little bit about it.
I was a Spudette. I was a spokesperson with Spuds McKenzie.
So it was a Spudette girl.
It was a Spudette. Yeah, I was a Spudette.
Did you pull your hair back really straight? Was it the one pull back?
We wore it all kinds of ways. I did it for 3 years, actually.
Wow, so you traveled a lot.
We traveled around the country, every city, and we did Canada and other places. And
had you traveled before that?
I had traveled, but not that extensively. I mean, we were gone probably 3 days out of every week. We went on trips every week, and we did all the talk shows from Good Morning America to whatever, and Super Bowl games.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember seeing you now. Yes, when the face came in, I remembered it. Did you take acting lessons then in between, or ever?
Right. Well, yes, I was already acting a little bit. I got my first role on a TV movie called The Bunny's Tail with Kirstie Alley. And then I went back to college and I got the Spuds campaign. We did about 8 to 10 commercials a year.
Wow.
And it turned out to be a 3-year contract, and I did acting, you know, I did a lot of guest spots in between when I was able to. And the first, I guess, big break was The Cosby Show.
Yeah. Did the campaign buy you a house or a car?
We did pretty good.
Let's talk a little bit about Harlem Nights, because that really was a
big break.
It was a big break. Do you think of it as your big break?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. You know, especially as far as films, you know, I was a co-star and my first real film, and it's, you know, it was a.
Were you impressed with the people on?
Oh, very. Oh, very. You know, aside from Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor and Della Reese, who I fell in love with, and Red Fox, who's now, you know, gone, bless his heart, you know, as experiences you can't trade.
I mean, were you like a little kid?
Yeah, I was a little kid on the block. It was my first film. I was the only, you know, I was the only newcomer to the entire cast, and it was exciting.
How did they treat you?
Very warmly, like the little young one on the set said it was okay.
That's cute. Let's see what the little young one on the set did. We have a clip.
Okay.
Do you want to set it up, or is it self-explanatory?
It's pretty self-explanatory. If you've seen it, I played a seductress named Sunshine.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's see Sunshine with Lela Rochon from Harlem Nights.
My hero,
come on,
man.
you're driving me crazy. Get out of here.
Come on, man.
Did you notice me watching you?
No, I can't say I did that.
Well, I was. You see, I'm new in town and I haven't any friends, and you look quite friendly. Would you like to be my friend?
My name is Richie Vento. And, what's your name, darling, there?
Sunshine. Why don't you do what you have to do? And then after you're finished, you come back and you pick me up. Oh, wait, I forgot. I'm finished with my work at 9:30. That means I have to stand outside in the cold for half an hour with all that stuff in my bag.
What do you do anyway?
Well, every month I do a numbers pickup at one place, and I drop it off at another the next day. And I get paid for it.
You're a pickup girl? Where are you going to be tomorrow night at 9:30?
Well, my pickup is on Lenox Avenue.
All right, tomorrow night at 9:30, I'm going to pick you up at Lenox and 110th Street.
Oh, Richie. Oh, Richie.
Okay,
You made me so happy. And you know what I do and you still want to see me?
Yeah.
Oh, Richie. You know, I have to admit, when we first met, I was intimidated by you.
You were?
And when we made love, I held back.
You did?
Who would now? Now that I've opened up and I've told you the truth about myself, I just want to be completely free to do any and everything you want me to.
Oh, God.
Besides being the new kid on the set, were there any other things that you can remember from that project?
No, it was just, it was very scary, you know, my first time to be out there in a film, and Eddie's films seem to get a lot of attention, so to be thrown out there, it's kind of good just to be thrown out there.
And then with Boomerang, that project, did you get thrown into that the same way, or did you have some experience in between?
Oh, yes, I've, you know, been working on a lot of things in between, and Eddie suggested me for the role I'm doing in Boomerang, and the movie is basically about him being a very suave ladies' man, and I'm one of his love interests, and it's, what I like about Boomerang is this film is, all my scenes are just Eddie and I, and it's comedy, it's heavy comedy.
Is it?
Supposedly it's very funny. It came out really, they're really pleased with it, and so just to be one-on-one with him and do comedy, I mean,
have you done stand-up comedy?
Of course not. No.
Do you think you could?
Oh, there's not too many things I wouldn't be afraid to do, but that's one of them, of course.
I would think it's hard to do.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather just act and be funny than to try to be a comedian. But it's really interesting. Most of the things I've done have all been comedies.
How is his timing? Do you learn kind of a sense of pace when you're doing something?
Yeah. You know, basically, I try to focus in on my character and be real sure of that, and everything else just falls into place.
Did you ever model? You're so tall and so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Not really. I started in the business as a dancer, like I said, and from there started acting and studied and was very serious about it, and I never had time to really get into modeling.
Do you like fashion?
Oh, I love fashion.
Do you like to shop?
I love to shop, yeah. I must say I do. It gets me in trouble.
Do you? Yeah. And I'm sure you love to dress up.
Yeah, I do. And, yeah, I do.
Do you live alone?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
I'm going to start prying. Do you entertain a lot, or do you go out with the groups of people? Or?
I entertain a little bit. I'm social as far as the industry is concerned. You know, I'll go to premieres or parties, but I don't necessarily go to clubs or really get into the scene. It's you know, it's the no era, and the 90s are a little scary, and I'm really married to my career right now, and real focused on what I want. So.
And what do you want?
You really want to hear?
Let's hear what you want.
I mean, preferably, of course, I would prefer a career in films, but if television is offered to me, we'll continue to do television, and mixing it up is, I think, right now is really good. But I eventually want to get into filmmaking. I'm writing a screenplay.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
We're going to have another woman director.
For once. I'm not sure about directing per se, but in the audition process, it's not something that I necessarily always wanted to do, was be a writer, but it gets a little aggravating reading scripts and reading a lot of bad projects and really not having the right ones that I feel that I'm forced to write.
That reminded me of something. Actresses go on a lot of auditions. When you said the audition process, who do you audition with? Do you go with the same group of people?
Yeah, you're pretty much in a type, in a category, and you pretty much know who's going to be up for that role and who's not available, who's available.
Who are the women who go for the same kind of roles that you do?
Well, I don't know. I would say black women between 20 and early 20s and late 20s.
They don't have to be. I mean, somebody was saying that she went for a black role and she was white and she got the role.
Yeah, that's true, and I have gotten a couple that were written white, and I really don't care to be labeled. You know, my love affair in Harlem Nights was with a white man. And I think it's really great, and and it's stretching.
I think everything's open now, and I think you should go for everything.
I love Sharon Stone in her new movie.
Yeah, so that's where you should go. Right. What do you love about LA before we close?
All I can say about LA is it's my home. Sometimes it gets old. I'd love to live somewhere else or be bi-coastal, but that'll come in time. So.
Yeah, and we'll be watching for you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Lela Rochon. And thanks for being with us. Hi, we're back. I'm Joan Quinn, and we're with Juliet Mills. Juliet started her acting career in London. She started at the top. She was in Peter Shaffer's Five-Finger Exercise, directed by Sir John Gielgud, and was nominated for a Tony when she took the play to Broadway. Juliet worked on the boards, as they say, for years. She Stoops to Conquer with Sir Ralph Richardson and Tom Courtenay, Alfie with Terence Stamp, The Knack, directed by Brian Bedford, and she worked with the Royal Shakespeare Company and the Berkshire Theatre Festival. Recently in Hollywood, she starred with her husband, Maxwell Caulfield, in Jean Van Tile's In and Out the Window. But we have to go back. Juliet made her screen debut at 11 weeks old. How did that happen, Juliet?
Well, I played a baby, of course.
Oh, good.
My father was doing a film for Noel Coward, and Noel Coward was my godfather, and they needed a baby in the scene to play actually my father's baby, and so Noel just said one day, anybody got a baby? And and I was brought along.
So that was absolutely perfect. Did you ever dream of being an actress at 11 weeks old?
No, shortly thereafter, though.
Did you work with Noel Coward after that as
No.
your career? Never again?
Never worked, and never done a play, never done one of his plays, but I am going to do one of his plays this summer.
In a project, a new project, you're going to
Yes.
London, or you're doing
Going to London to do Fallen Angels with my sister Hayley. And that's the first time I've ever done a Coward play, and it's the first time I've ever worked with my sister on the stage. So.
Have you made movies with her?
No.
Oh,
no.
it'll be the first.
Only thing we've done, we've done Love Boat together, but that's all. We've never done a film or a play, so it's going to be exciting.
So after your debut as a baby, you made a whole series of movies. Were they in America or were they in London?
Well, I didn't make very many movies as a child, really. I just did a day here and a day there with my father sometimes, not like my sister, who really started filming when she was, around 12. But I did do some films in my teens and 20s in England. I did some of the Carry On movies, which were tremendous fun. And I was doing theatre and film together until I came to the States to do Nanny and the Professor.
Well, was your basic love theatre then?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I started in the theatre, and I've done many plays, as you said, and I always go back to the theatre. I mean, that's where you recharge your batteries and get back to basics.
But you had this long run in Nanny and the Professor, and I think everyone knew Juliet Mills from that TV series. Was it hard to make the transition from theatre to TV?
I don't think so. I think it maybe is hard if you go from TV to the theatre, but you can make almost any transition from the theatre. I think that's, if you start in the theatre, it gives you tremendous confidence and discipline and technique and everything. And then to go into television, it's like you just sort of take everything down,
Did it feel crass in any way, or did it feel not of the caliber from the Royal Shakespeare Theatre or Berkshire Festival?
Well, it was different. It was less theatrical and more, and I tried to approach it just to be more real, And Nanny was a very real character to me, and she was a lovely, magical person to play. And I seemed to make the transition fairly easily. But I had done movies in between doing theatre and television. I'd done movies, so they're all related, but definitely different.
Did they bring you just for that series? Did you come just for that series?
Well, I had been in Hollywood. I'd made a film with Jimmy Stewart called The Rare Breed, which I got that film when I was doing Alfie in New York, actually, and so I really enjoyed working with Jimmy Stewart.
I bet.
Actually, it was a Western. My father was frightfully jealous. It was the one film he's always wanted to make is a Western, and I got to do it.
What were you doing with your English accent? Were you someone just on the ranch, or what?
I was English.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was Maureen O'Hara's daughter, and she was English, and we were just sort of going through. We were a couple of pioneers.
Well, I think when you were talking about TV, they obviously wanted the accent, and they wanted you were the perfect cast. But you did win an Emmy for the miniseries Qb7.
Yes.
And what kind of a role was that?
Well, that was a very nice part. It was going from the age of like 18 to sort of 40, which is always fun to do, playing a nurse in the First World War, and Ben Gazzara's love interest, and it wasn't a very big part, but it was a very good part, and I got a chance to. And I was playing American too, actually. So.
You did? So what did you do with your accent? You have an American accent?
Well, I hid it.
I never understand how you can do that. Well, we always say you play with an American accent. What is an American accent?
Well, Well, there's so many, aren't there? I mean,
Well.
that's the thing. I've just done this play with Maxwell, and I was playing a farm woman from North Dakota, and that was an accent that I really had to work on because
Yes,
it's so
how did you
different.
do that?
Well, I went to the very famous Mr. Robert Easton, Dr. Dialect, we call him, and he's just fantastic. He can give you any dialect. I went with my little tape recorder. I put everything on tape, and I just went away and learned it.
Do you ever forget what your real accent is?
Well, actually, I've slipped up a couple of times at home and got rather American. And
Have you?
Yeah. But naturally, it doesn't come naturally to me. I mean, I've lived here for years and years and years, and it's not that I've tried not to lose my accent, but it just sort of has stayed with me. It doesn't come naturally to say tomatoes and water and things.
Well, talking about tomatoes, when you came out, when I saw the play at the Tiffany Theater, the cast was coming out. I was waiting to congratulate you on your terrific performance, and they were all walking out with avocados. And I was thinking, this cast is so health conscious. It's just fabulous. Each one comes out with an avocado. And then Maxwell came out, and he had an avocado in his hand, and he gave it to me, and he said, "Here, this is better than Haas. It's from our ranch." So tell us about that.
Well, we have an avocado ranch just south of Santa Barbara, and we have plenty of avocados for everyone. We have 800 trees, actually. We do sell them. It's a proper orchard. It's a proper ranch.
Do you pick them, or you have people?
Well, we do have pickers come in and pick when we're picking for the whole, for the year, for the harvest. But we pick when we're bringing boxes into town to give to our friends. And that's what you witnessed that day at the theater.
Tell us how you can live so far from the city, because it takes about an hour and a half to drive to your
Yes,
ranch.
it does. It's not a bad commute at all, but if we're actually filming or in the theater, we stay in town. We have a darling friend who has a beautiful little house in Benedict Canyon, and we stay there with her, Millie Cattleman,
Yes.
and who you know and love.
She's sweet.
And we do stay when we're doing the theater.
Well, what kind of lifestyle do you live on the ranch, or?
Yes.
What kind of lifestyle do you live?
Hard working, I'll tell you.
I would think. That's what I mean. Do you really get out and work the ranch?
Oh, yes. I mean, we've got animals. We've got horses and dogs and cats and goats and rabbits and chickens. And so there's a lot of work up there. And we all do it. We all pitch in.
Feeding?
Yes, feeding and watering. I have a very big garden. Gardening is my hobby. I love gardening. We have vegetable gardens and a rose garden that I planted myself, and it's a wonderful lifestyle if you like country life, which I love.
What kind of ranch problems do you have? What kind of problems that come up?
Oh, well, anything from the goat eating somebody's coat who comes to visit for lunch, or the horses getting out and running on down to see some other horses in another pasture somewhere, or the water running over from the big tanks where we keep. Well, there's always some sort of drama, it seems like.
So it's not a relaxing, you don't read, and you're not a gentle woman writing your memoir.
No, I've got no nails to prove it. I'm a gardener. I'm a rancher's wife. A rancher's wife, sorry.
Do you cook? Do you use the vegetables from your...
Oh, yes, yeah. Yes, I love to cook that way. I love to go into the vegetable garden and say, now what shall we have for dinner?
So what did you have yesterday?
Well, we've been eating an awful lot of guacamole lately, I must say. We had a party for the cast, and they all came up, and Melissa made this absolutely marvelous vat of guacamole.
Melissa, your daughter.
Melissa, her daughter. And there was quite a bit left over, so I've been eating guacamole and tamales. Father's Day cake.
And the vegetables that are plentiful?
Yes.
Tomatoes, probably?
Tomatoes. They're just coming in now, and basil. Make lots of pasta with vegetables and ratatouille. And
so it must be very exciting to just go out and take your little basket.
I do. I really do it. I do it, Joan.
You don't miss the party life?
No, we come down to Los Angeles to parties whenever we're invited, and we go to premieres, and we do stay, you know, involved in the scene down here. You have to a certain extent, of course.
And then to get work, you don't feel like you're out of the mainstream as far as getting new projects and doing new work?
No, because we work from there. You know, we have a phone and a fax, and you have to stay on top of it. And agents down here, and we come down for meetings. I mean, this is the centre of it all. We have to come down here a lot. But somehow that hour-and-a-half drive, that 90 minutes, that 90 miles, it's really worth it when you get up there. And you can take a deep breath of fresh air, and you can hear the birds sing, and you can park your car.
There's a quietness, isn't there?
Yeah.
Talking about keeping in touch with people down here, what about new projects for you?
Well, my new project, as I said, is the play with Haley, which is going to take me right through to the end of November now. Maybe even longer if we go into London. We're going to do a national tour of England with it, which will be really fun. I mean,
so it could open on the West End and stay there indefinitely.
Well,
or come
not
to New
indefinitely.
York.
I mean, I couldn't. About 6 months, I suppose, is as much as I did one play, my first play. Five Finger Exercise, which was directed by John Gielgud. I was in that play for 2.5 years, which was like doing a national service, you know. I mean, by the time I finished, that was it. I said, I will never do another play for longer than 8 months. I think after that it becomes a real strain, you know. You can't think what you've got to say next. I mean, it sort of becomes like a parrot, and you can't think, you know. Your mind wanders. You're thinking what you're going to have for dinner, or what
when you're on the stage.
And then it's very difficult.
But the thing that's so wonderful about you, because I have known you for really a long time, and I have to know what some of your secrets are, your beauty secrets for agelessness. I don't know.
Oh, Joan.
Tell us.
Gosh, I was just thinking, I wish I had some that were working.
I was just, when you were thinking just now, I thought, maybe avocados. Maybe she uses a mask of avocados.
Well, actually, avocados are good for your skin, and the avocado oil is good for your skin. I'm very religious about cleaning my face. And, you know, before I go to bed, and soap and water, and drinking lots of water, I've found, as I've got older, is very important too, especially here in California where everything gets so dry.
Is there anything that you'd like to do? You've been on stage, and especially on stage, I know you love it, and TV and movies. Is there anything you'd like to do that you haven't done yet?
Yes, there's lots of things. One thing is I would like to produce a film. And I have a screenplay that was actually written by my son, who is 28 and who's a very good writer. And he also wants to direct it. And I would like to get that off the ground. I've got a very good group already committed to it, including Sir John. Sir John's signed on the dotted line. And also I would very much like to do Streetcar with Maxwell on stage. That's been kind of a dream.
So we're going to leave. We're going to leave our set right now, but we're going to look for you. We hope you become a producer, and we hope you do Streetcar.
Thank you, Joan.
And thanks for being with us.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us on Joan Quinn, etc. All of you people out there, and watch for us next time. Goodbye.